Yo, 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 yo. Slow that a little bit. I feel like that's good. I feel like we're in a good spot. Yeah, let's get it. Cool. Checking levels, checking topics. We're good. What's good? What's good? What's good? You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph, here with another solo dolo episode of the Juke Boys Sports Show. Yeah. Let's get it. So like we always do, hope everybody's doing good out there in TV land. If you're looking for a clean, no crash, jitterless energy drink, go on your mobile phones, laptops, iPads, tablets, all that good stuff. Use promo code JUK for 20% off. Use promo code JUKE at W.com. There's an app, there's a website, good quality drinks, beverages, get you a bev. If you're looking wherever you're here from, not if you're looking, but if you're looking for entertainment, this is your one-stop shop essentially. I got cannabis reviews, I got music reviews, I got an overall general podcast with my brother, the Two Goobs. New episode dropping on Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. We got the Juke Boy Sports Show here. So wherever you're here from, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Subscribe at Juke Network on YouTube. Follow Juke Network on Facebook as well. And you can follow me at KYNGRALPH on TikTok, Twitch, Threads, Instagram, add an underscore for X or Twitter. And I will have it going down there on the bottom on the ticker. But let's jump straight into it, y'all. So NFL Combine, like I said, this is probably one of my favorite times of the year when it comes to my podcast stuff because I get to get into my scouting bag. And the Combine is the beginning of it. And so NFL Combine just got done. NFL.com calls it their NFL All Combine team. I like to call it the NFL Combine Warriors, Workout Warriors. But let's get into it. So Taylon Green, quarterback out of Arkansas, formerly with Boise State, played really well. Not played really well, but worked out really well. 6'6", 6'5", and 7/8. 227 pounds, ran a 4.36, had a 44, almost 44-inch vert, 11.2 broad jump. And the measurables like that, those are things where people typically would try to tilt you in another direction when you're an athletic quarterback like that. But during his interview, post everything, he specifically said, and I quote, "I am a quarterback, always have been." Now we'll see what happens here because I did watch him at Boise State when they had Ashton Genty. He was the quarterback of Boise State when we played them in the Mountain West, and there's some good stuff and some bad stuff. I think athleticism is crazy. Being able to translate that to the SEC and still be able to do his thing from an athletic standpoint. Now he is a developmental quarterback, so we'll see what happens from there. But the things that he put up on the combine tape, now can he be someone that there's something to work with? Still don't see him being a Anthony Richardson type of draft pick, but I can see, at least from the how high he goes, I think that he's a developmental quarterback from the truest sense of a Anthony Richardson. So given the right situation, he can flourish, but he did himself a favor in putting up these measurables as clearly the most athletic quarterback in this draft class. Someone on the flip side, Jeremiah Love, out of running back out of Notre Dame, didn't have to do much of what he did in this combine. Already put the tape up. He's clearly RB1. I don't really think it's close, to be honest with you. I think that he is the cream of the crop. And I think he's head and shoulders above everyone else. Now, do I think there's some other good running backs in here? Someone that was in his running back room as well. His backup was really good. I think it was Mike Washington out of Arkansas, ran a 4.3. And was the fastest running back in this at the combine. So I think that there are some pieces and other players who are going to get some of those looks, but Jeremiah Love definitely head and shoulders above the rest. 6 foot, 212, and ran a 4.36, had a 6.155 short burst, athletic to match the production, big body running back that can also block shots. Hold on. All right, so Jeremiah Love didn't really have to go out there and work out as well. I think that, and I'll get into this later with players should they compete, but also when it comes to it's if you go out there and you show out, it's not going to hurt you. I honestly, for me, I'll give you more respect and I'll hold you at a higher standard if you go out there and compete when you really don't have anything to gain. Arvell Reese was another one that his tape and his ability to get after the quarterback while also being off ball has shown to the point where that's why Arvell Reese is ranked as high as he is from a prospect standpoint. Jeremiah Love is another one. Didn't really have anything to really gain from going out there, but put their stamp on it as far as who they are from an athlete, competitor, and their body of work. Next up, Zane Durant, D tackle out of Penn State. 6'1", 290, ran a 4.75, which is at that size. Hold on. Ran a 4.75, and that type of size and speed is something to work with. I think that these are, when it comes to the combine, these are one of those things where you don't get too high on people if their tape doesn't say otherwise. But this one is where I think there are things to work with. There is some defensive output and production on the field to where this athleticism, you can kind of see it through the tape, but I think the ability to be that fast at that size, given that he ran he's faster than Mahomes, faster than Dak at the defensive tackle spot, which is it crazy at the end of the day. Then who do we have next? Zachariah Branch, wide receiver out of Georgia, also related to Cliff Branch, who is a legend in the Raider community. So I think that's someone that the Raiders should definitely be looking at. Now, isn't a big body guy, but 5'9", 177, ran a 4.3. Where we at? Ran a 4.35, but he was able to get 20 reps on the bench press, which at that size is surprisingly strong. Raiders need someone at the wide receiver spot, whether it's a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. We'll see what we can get out of Jack Beck. But I think Zachariah Branch, given his lineage and skill set, what he was able to do at Georgia, I think that is someone, and his combine workouts, I think that he did his thing. Someone who really showed out, Sonny Styles, mainly an off-ball linebacker with Ohio State, 6'5", 244, ran a 4.46, which puts him right in the mix as far as one of the fastest at that linebacker position, but is much heavier and bigger than a lot of guys at that same position. 11.2 broad jump, crazy athleticism, production on the field. As an Ohio State fan, when you start to see like the amount of players, given that Styles, Reese, Tate, Carnell Tate, they should all three go within the top 12 picks. Why did we lose to Miami? Like, I get it. Things happen any given Sunday, any given Saturday. But when you have that type of talent, we have three players on the field that could go top 10 and very well should go top 10. What are we doing here? Why are we losing to such lower competition? And then, last but not least, Robert Spears Jennings, out of Oklahoma, safety out of Oklahoma, 6'2", 205, ran a 4.32, 10.5 broad jump, 4.4, 4.43 shuttle. Going with the trend of lengthy safeties with speed, very athletic speed, ability to open his hips, but does the tape show? And so when we get into this scouting portion of the podcast, when we over the next couple weeks, I am going to start to release like who I am, my breakdowns, and who I'm going to start releasing. I'm going to release a schedule of that, but this is one of my favorite parts of the year. A lot of big stuff coming in. NFL Combine has wrapped up. Pro Day is coming up next. Mendoza did not throw, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But he will throw at his Pro Day, given following the trend that many people have done over the last couple of years. The Cam Wards, Shador, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, of the sorts that did not throw at the Combine. And we'll see. And so Kyler Murray was informed by the Arizona Cardinals that next week he will be cut. Should teams take a chance on him and give him an opportunity to start? And I'm going to run through a few of the teams that could possibly be fits, or teams that could just possibly need a quarterback. Well, obviously Raiders, but we got the number one pick. I believe we're going to take Fernando Mendoza. I would be very surprised if we do otherwise, although I have been one of the main people out here pounding the table thinking that we should at least see what our options are before we make that decision. Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix coming off an injury. Kevin Stefanski coming in, was more so known as the offensive mind. This is someone that could use his skill set, play action ability, loaded skill position, and gives them a true explosive element. And then you got Pittsburgh Steelers. QBs have been very inconsistent over the last couple of years. The Mason Rudolphs, the Aaron Rodgers. You get Russell Wilson for a year, Justin Fields, and it's just, I don't know if he necessarily has the fit, but also quarterback position. This is a position of need with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. I know Baker, for me personally, Baker has shown that he should be the guy. I don't think that he puts you in this top tier conversation, but I think at his peak, he does play like a top 10 quarterback. Now, we'll see if they reset at the quarterback position or give Murray an opportunity, but Minnesota Vikings as well. J.J. McCarthy, if I'm Kyler Murray and I'm wanting to stay in the NFL, I probably would take a year and try to see if I can develop underneath a Kevin O'Connell. Daniel Jones made a stop there. Look at what happened with him. Sam Darnold made a stop there. Look what happened with him. Now, J.J. McCarthy, still to be the jury's still out on that one. But Kyler Murray, the weapons that they have over there, playing in a dome and creative offensive play calling, if I'm him, that's probably my most desired designation or destination. But we'll see what happens, yo. I think Kyler Murray ability to the effort, when he throws the ball, it just looks effortless and is flinging yards down the field. Good, strong arm, been inconsistent. The whole contract thing when it came to play film study being in his contract, I don't think that that'll ever not hang over his head, to be honest with you. So, given an opportunity to be able to be humble, take a step back, and go into a situation, seeing what you can do with your career, I would probably take my talents to Minnesota if I was him. But what do I know? So the W was it WNBAPA, and well, technically, but basically, the Players Association, the Women's Players Association, and the WNBA League have pretty much give a deadline of March 10th. If they cannot get something done, there is going to be the season's pretty much going to be in jeopardy. So, will we see the W this year? As much as I would love for them to be to figure it out and give us some women's basketball this year, I'm not confident, honestly. I think that some of the things I've heard, um, things that have gone trendy on social media, the Unrivaled League, how well that's doing and how competitive it is, and the players, how well the players are paid in that league, I think it only hurts um, the WNBA's like word, I guess you could say, because I get it. At the end of the day, the W is not profitable. But if you compare that to the NBA, it took 30, 40 years before the NBA was profitable. So if we put that into, and I've talked about this before, if we put that into context where with the W, it shouldn't matter if they're profitable or not to how well you pay them. I think it took 30 years for the NBA to be profitable. So right around the time when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were in the league is when the league became profitable. And the players, I think the highest paid player at that time might have got 2 million. So given the contracts and where the highest paid player in the W was only getting about 2.75 mil a year, I mean 2.7 275,000. Sheesh, y'all. Words with my ass tonight. Um, Given the contracts comparably, I just don't know if I can see a world right now where they come to a happy medium. You know how greedy the owners can be. So we'll see if they budge on that. But I think that getting a comparable number of profits for the league itself, while also acknowledging the growth of the league and how it's continuously growing. This was happening before Caitlin Clark happened. This was happening way before Angel Reese. We got Juju coming in. We got Paige Beckers coming in that played really well last year, and another good draft class coming in this year. And so the game is continuously growing. I think eventually we're going to get to a point. Um, um, and the league is continuously growing. And so I'm not 100% sure if we'll get. My gut says no, although the fan in me would love to see it. And so Jonathan Kuminga has been in the media for some time, whether or not he was going to get playing time with the Warriors. What were they going to do with his rights? Were they going to let him go? Were they going to let him trade him? Eventually, they trade him. They didn't want to let him go to the Kings, so they trade him. They trade him to the Atlanta Hawks, and after 3 games, he's been balling. Um, 21 points a game, almost 8 rebounds per, three assists per, almost 2 steals per, 67, 68 field goal percentage, shooting 56% from three, 78% from the field, with really just with the Warriors, he was getting about 24 minutes a game, and now he's getting about 27 minutes a game. So in just 3 more minutes, he's got his average up 9 rebounds up, 2 assists, more assists a game, better shooting percentage from the field, better 3-point percentage from the field. And I think that these are things where when we start to talk about players having confidence and a coach that believes in them, the ability to play free, not have to worry about your your minutes. Will you be pulled if you take the wrong shot or make the wrong decision? And I've seen this thing when it comes to Steve Kerr where his ability to have the foresight to make the call that although we have David Lee, I'm gonna go with Draymond Green with bigger minutes and give him a bigger role and actually kind of run low key run the offense through him. I think that type of foresight and his inability to have the foresight to see Jonathan Kuminga and knowing that Draymond might need a lesser role or a different role in order for Kuminga to be able to flourish. I do believe this could end up tainting Steve Kerr's legacy. When you look at decisions that the GMs have made, whether Steve Kerr had the decision making or input to make the Wiseman decision over like a LaMelo Ball. He's came out and said that even if they had the number 1 pick, he wouldn't have taken Anthony Edwards. And look at what happened with that team. Jordan Poole having to be traded after the Draymond Green. You choose Draymond over Jordan. You have Jonathan Kuminga in the building. You have Moody. And you have players and pieces that are next up. This is your next big three, I guess you could say. And instead of giving them an opportunity to get the young guys more minutes, you hold on to your vets a little too long to where Warriors, I'd be surprised they even sniff the play-in. And so it's just not good basketball. The team's not good. It's Steph or bust, essentially, especially with no Jimmy Butler. So I think in the end, if Kuminga goes on to be a multi-all-star player, makes some all-NBA teams, Steve Kerr's going to start looking kind of funny in the light. And so, what we got? And so, fast break as we wrap up. I mentioned it earlier. Fernando Mendoza did not play did not compete in the combine. He's going to throw at his pro day. And we always hear these conversations of knowing who you're throwing to, not wanting to go out there and look bad. I think Teddy Bridgewater was someone that competed and wasn't throwing to his guys and didn't necessarily have the best showing. Eventually, Teddy Bridgewater still went in the first round, I do believe, if not the second round. So he didn't slide too far down, but it did affect his draft status in the way that he was being viewed going into it. Now, me personally, if you're going to go out there and compete, I want to see you compete and how well do you look on your throws. Now, there's some things of not knowing how a person breaks their body language before they make these movements, how fast they run. When you're used to throwing to your guys, timing is everything, especially from the quarterback to wide receiver connections. So I understand, but me personally, as a fan of the game, a competitor, not to the level that these guys are, but a competitor in itself, I'm super competitive. I think players should go out there and compete. I give all the praise in the world to Arvell Reese and Jeremiah Love for going out there and competing and putting their stamp as the best at their position in this process, in this draft, especially if we're going based off tape and combine. And so, given that nobody has any kind of injury history that ends up popping up, I think players should compete at the end of the day. And I'm not going to say that Fernando Mendoza. I think at the end of the day, the Raiders know who they're going to pick. Mendoza would have to do some wild shit in order for him not to be that number 1 overall pick, in my personal opinion. And so I don't think that he has to, but I would have liked to see him from a competitor and a fan of the game. And then Chicago Bears Pro Bowl center Drew Dalman retires at the age of 27. And this is just one of those things when we start talking about having these conversations of life after sports, life after football. I don't blame him, man. I think that when you play such a violent sport, it's like every time you're tackled, it's like getting into a car accident. Now, some of them are more fender benders than they are the totaling of the car type of crash or tackles. But at the end of the day, as a center, that banging on every play eventually becomes a wear and tear. And it wears down on you mentally and physically faster than others to where that love of the game, that getting ready, and plus you just never know what his focus is. Maybe his love of the game is not there. A lot of times you'll see players like a Maya Moore. She tries to help someone in a situation that is close to her, ends up marrying the guy when he gets out, retires, and it now has focused her attention on situations like that. People's love and their attention and focus is not always the game in which that we think like, oh man, you're getting paid millions, you should do like no. Not all money is good money to people, and sometimes our focus and attention as we grow out of things and we grow into things. And I don't blame him for it, man. I wonder if he'll end up coming back. He is still young, 27. I think he probably at a lot, especially at the position he played, he could have most times get a 12-year career out of that. He could have easily played till 35, especially given the talent that he had. That offense is going to miss him. So we'll see if the Bears are able to replace it, but we'll see. And next up, as a Raiders fan, and I got a homie of mine, love Trey to death, my brother as well. But please, stop talking to me about Max Crosby. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to take his word for it when he says he doesn't want to be traded. He has the Raiders tat on his body. He said that he likes the head coach and wants to see the team going forward. Now, I have been on here before saying I can understand why we would shop trading him. But I'm just not willing to take whatever for him in order to just for the sake of trading him. I truly, genuinely believe that Max Crosby is a top 3 position or player at his position. You could argue top 4 because I think that I do personally believe and trust and like him more than I like Michael Parsons. But I'm a Raider fan at the end of the day, so obviously I'm going to put him in the top 3, given his body of work. But I do think that some of the things when it comes to his injury history are a little concerning and could mess up the trade value. But I'm not giving up anything less than 2 firsts, and I don't care if DJ Moore is included in that or not. I still want 2 firsts, given that the ranking and the comparing the 2 players at their positions, one player is arguably a top 3, and the other one you got to argue to get him into the top 10. And so I think that gap themselves from the ranking of the position, and neither position is more important than the other. I think they're just as important. This is where I'm like, yeah, I'm not giving up Max for nothing less than 2 firsts. So you got to start there in order for us to even have this conversation. But I just don't care because we got so much time. The draft is not until like April. So, and then the season don't really start until we start getting ramped up in like July, June. So I don't want to hear it until it actually happens. Shut up talking to me about Max Crosby in a damn trade. And then last but not least, shout out, just wanted to give some shout out to Durantula, Slim Reaper, Kevin Durant, passing 3,200 points all time. And one of the greatest scorers of all time, one of the most polarizing figures in our sport or in the NBA, in basketball, definitely during this generation. One of the most decorated Olympic basketball players, 4-time scoring champ, part of the 50-40-90 club, 14-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star MVP, 10 All-NBA selections, 2-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals, 1-time NBA MVP, and you can say what you want about him going to the Warriors. Was it a weak move? I still believe it was a weak move. But at the end of the day, I don't blame him for him leaving. It's where he went to. But even him going there, he was clearly the best player on that team. You can say what you want about the gravity, about Steph, but KD is KD. And you needed an equalizer for how crazy LeBron was playing on the other side. I always tell the story. They came to him, not him going to them. They were crying, calling him, saying that we need you to come here. And he came and saved the day. So take what you want with that. But I do appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share wherever you're here from. Subscribe, like, comment, share, follow. Subscribe at Juke Network, JUK Network. We are approaching 120 subscribers. Trying to get closer and closer and closer to that 200 subscribers mark. Thank you all for supporting us. Follow Juke Network as well on Facebook. You can follow me at KYNGRALPH on TikTok, Twitch, Threads, Instagram, @_ for X and Twitter. Make sure you follow the Instagram page for Juke Sports Show at Juke Sports Show. All of this is on that ticker on the bottom, like I mentioned before. Audio only episode coming out in the morning. New Two Goobs episode coming on Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So once a month right now is looking what it's looking like. We'll end up doing an episode of Two Goobs once a month. And it always will come out on Thursday, 4 p.m. And we will start probably posting about him on Monday night, Tuesday night as well. Just kind of letting you know you'll start seeing the clips throughout the week, leading up to it, and boom, episode drops. But thank you all for watching. I do got to get up out of here, check on my child, see if she is asleep or how she's doing. But love y'all. Peace out. Love, peace, and chicken grease.